The Classic 650 starts at $7,499 in the US. But is it the Royal Enfield that deserves your money in 2026? Today, we're breaking down every officially announced new model, major update, and special edition, showing what each one costs, what changed, and which rider each motorcycle was built for. Let's begin with the newest twin-cylinder classic, the Royal Enfield Classic. 650 feels like the motorcycle riders have been waiting on for years, even if they did not realize it. For a long time, the Classic name has been loved for its timeless character, easygoing nature, and unmistakable silhouette. The only thing some riders wished for was a little more effortless performance once the road opened up. Royal Enfield finally answered that request, and it did so with an official United States starting price of $7,499. That immediately makes the Classic 650 one of the most attainable twin-cylinder retro motorcycles on the American market. But the real story begins long before you twist the throttle. Beneath the familiar sheet metal sits Royal Enfield's proven 648 cubic centimeter air and oil-cooled parallel twin, paired with a smooth 6-speed gearbox. Officially, it produces 47 horsepower and 38 pound-feet of torque. Those figures are not designed to impress on paper. They are designed to make every ride feel effortless. Whether you are merging onto an interstate, settling into a relaxed cruise, or carrying a passenger through rolling back roads, the engine delivers its power with an easy confidence that never feels rushed. Even with a wet weight of 535 pounds, the motorcycle carries itself with reassuring stability, giving it the calm, planted character that suits its personality perfectly. If this is the kind of detailed motorcycle breakdown you want before making your next purchase, drop some hype in the comments and subscribe. What truly separates the Classic 650 from the rest of Royal Enfield's lineup is not the engine itself, but where that engine now lives. Riders already know this parallel twin from the Interceptor 650, Continental GT 650, Super Meteor 650, Shotgun 650, and Bear 650. This is the first time the company's iconic classic styling has been wrapped around that platform, creating a machine that finally combines vintage charm with genuine long-distance comfort. Showa suspension, dual-channel anti-lock brakes, signature LED lighting, premium aluminum switchgear, a USB Type-C charging port, an analog instrument cluster with an integrated display, and a removable passenger seat all add up to a motorcycle that feels thoughtfully modern without abandoning its heritage. That is also why the Classic 650 is not replacing the Interceptor. The Interceptor remains the lighter, more playful roadster, while this motorcycle leans into relaxed ergonomics, graceful styling, and unhurried miles. It squares off against machines like the Triumph Speed Twin 900, Kawasaki Eliminator, and Honda Rebel 1100, yet arrives with a noticeably friendlier price tag. For many riders, this could quietly become the heart of Royal Enfield's entire lineup. It offers exactly enough performance to enjoy America's highways without sacrificing the simplicity that made the Classic famous in the first place. The Classic answers one problem. The next motorcycle should answer another. Ask yourself, why doesn't everyone simply buy the Classic? That question naturally introduces the Bullet. Because if the Classic 650 is built to celebrate Royal Enfield's past with a touch of modern polish, the Bullet 650 takes a far more uncompromising route. It doesn't chase nostalgia with flashy details or extra technology. Instead, it asks something almost refreshing in today's motorcycle world. What happens when you take one of the most recognizable names in motorcycling history and pair it with an engine that riders already know they can trust? The answer is a motorcycle that feels less like a reinvention and more like a return to the brand's roots. For American buyers, Royal Enfield has officially priced the Bullet 650 at $7,499 in its Cannon Black finish. And beneath that unmistakably old-school silhouette sits a powertrain that has already earned an excellent reputation. The familiar 648 cubic centimeter air and oil-cooled parallel twin produces 47 horsepower and 38 pound-feet of torque, working through the same smooth 6-speed transmission found across the Interceptor 650, Continental GT 650, Super Meteor 650, Shotgun 650, Bear 650, and the new Classic 650. The performance isn't intended to surprise you. That's never been the mission. Confidence is. At first glance, it almost feels as though Royal Enfield resisted every temptation to modernize the Bullet's personality. The long, flat saddle, the generous chrome, the upright riding position, that unmistakable fuel tank. Every detail reminds you why the Bullet has survived generation after generation. This isn't a motorcycle trying to impress riders with electronics or futuristic styling. It's trying to remind them why simple motorcycles became icons in the first place. And that's exactly where this motorcycle separates itself from the Classic. On paper, they share nearly everything that matters. Underneath, they're remarkably similar machines. But once you step back, their personalities begin moving in different directions. The Classic feels slightly richer, almost elegant in the way it blends heritage with refinement. The Bullet feels honest, purposeful, like it has absolutely nothing to prove. That philosophy carries over to the ride itself. Fully fueled, the Bullet weighs just over 540 pounds, and Royal Enfield makes no apology for it. Instead of chasing lightweight performance, it delivers something many experienced riders appreciate even more: stability. Out on an open highway, that reassuring heft helps the motorcycle settle into an easy rhythm, making long, unhurried rides feel almost effortless. It's the kind of bike that encourages you to slow down rather than hurry up, rewarding smooth inputs instead of aggressive riding. Its closest rivals include the BSA Gold Star 650, the Triumph Bonneville T100, and perhaps most interestingly, its own sibling sitting just a few feet away in the showroom. Choosing between the Bullet and the Classic isn't really about horsepower, equipment, or specifications. It's about identity. One leans toward refinement. The other embraces tradition with complete confidence. And for plenty of riders, that authenticity alone is worth the premium. But not every new Royal Enfield is powered by gasoline. The next motorcycle represents one of the biggest shifts in the company's history, proving that heritage and electrification no longer have to exist on opposite sides of the garage, which answered the question that has quietly followed Royal Enfield for years. How do you honor more than a century of heritage while preparing for a future that looks completely different? The answer isn't another air-cooled single or another classically styled twin. It's the flying Flea C6, and it represents the boldest step this company has taken in generations. Not because it's the quickest motorcycle Royal Enfield has ever announced, but because it leaves one familiar ingredient behind completely. There's no gasoline engine, no exhaust note, no fuel tank to fill. Instead, this is the very first motorcycle built under Royal Enfield's new Flying Flea electric brand, created to redefine how the company approaches everyday transportation. And before going any further, there's something important to clear up. Royal Enfield has not officially announced an American MSRP or confirmed when the Flying Flea C6 will reach United States dealerships. Until that happens, every dollar figure being shared is simply speculation, and that's not what this countdown is about. What we do know is far more interesting. Rather than adapting one of its existing motorcycles, Royal Enfield engineered an entirely new electric platform specifically for the Flying Flea family. It features a 3.91 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, a permanent magnet synchronous electric motor producing roughly 20 horsepower and about 44 pound-feet of torque, plus a quiet belt final drive. The company also confirms an IDC-certified riding range, a top speed of roughly 71 miles per hour, and the ability to recharge from 20% to 80% in approximately 1 hour and 5 minutes. Since those figures come from the Indian driving cycle rather than the Environmental Protection Agency testing used in America, they should not be viewed as an expected real-world United States range. The engineering philosophy is just as fascinating as the electric drivetrain. A forged aluminum frame, an eye-catching girder front suspension inspired by the original Flying Flea, lean-sensitive ABS, traction control, a touchscreen TFT display with navigation, wireless phone charging, keyless operation, over-the-air software updates, and deep smartphone integration all point toward the same goal. This motorcycle isn't chasing headline performance, it's chasing an experience. That makes its closest rivals premium lightweight electric commuters built for daily city life rather than cross-country adventures. If your routine revolves around crowded streets, short commutes, and modern convenience wrapped in timeless styling, the Flying Flea C6 begins to make a great deal of sense. But Royal Enfield isn't stopping with a city-focused electric motorcycle. Because once this platform proved it could handle the pavement, the next challenge became far more ambitious. What happens when electricity meets the trail? That earns the S6. The Flying Flea S6 makes something very clear. Royal Enfield is not stepping into the electric world with a single showcase motorcycle just to test the waters. Instead, it is already expanding the platform with a second machine that serves a completely different purpose. While the Flying Flea C6 is aimed at riders weaving through crowded city streets, the S6 is built for those moments when the pavement disappears and curiosity takes over. It is less about commuting from one traffic light to the next and more about discovering what lies beyond the edge of the map. There is one important detail to get out of the way first. Royal Enfield has not officially announced a United States price for the Flying Flea S6, and there is still no confirmed American launch date. You may come across websites claiming dealer pricing or estimated release schedules, but none of that comes from Royal Enfield itself. Or until the company publishes official information, those figures remain speculation rather than facts. That distinction matters, especially if you care about buying decisions based on verified information instead of internet guesses. Where the S6 really begins to separate itself is underneath its rugged exterior. Gone is the C6's distinctive girder front suspension and belt drive. In their place are an upside-down telescopic fork and a traditional chain final drive. Those choices were made with purpose. A stronger fork is better prepared for repeated hits from uneven trails, while a chain drive is easier to maintain after riding through mud, gravel, or rocky terrain. Royal Enfield also fits a larger front wheel, a slightly smaller rear wheel, a longer enduro-inspired seat, and increased suspension travel, all working together to make the motorcycle feel more composed once the asphalt gives way to dirt. The electronics have also been tailored for adventure. Royal Enfield has officially confirmed a dedicated off-road riding mode along with switchable anti-lock braking. That is far more meaningful than another button on the dashboard. On loose surfaces, having greater control over braking behavior can dramatically improve confidence, while the revised ride mode adjusts the motorcycle's responses for changing levels of traction. Interestingly, some of the biggest questions remain unanswered. Royal Enfield has not released official figures for battery capacity, motor output, charging time, riding range, or total weight. Many people expect those specifications to closely mirror the C6 because both motorcycles share the same foundation, but expectations are not evidence. Until Royal Enfield publishes those numbers, responsible reporting means waiting. Its natural rivals include motorcycles like the Zero FXE and the Can-Am Origin, yet the Flying Flea S6 appears to be chasing something different. Rather than focusing on outright performance, it promises an approachable lightweight machine that encourages exploration without the size or complexity of a full-scale adventure bike. And after exploring Royal Enfield's vision for an electric future, the next motorcycle takes us in exactly the opposite direction. No futuristic powertrain, no bold experiment, just a machine that celebrates everything the company has spent decades becoming known for. The Goan Classic 350 isn't trying to redefine motorcycling. It's trying to remind you why so many riders fell in love with it in the first place. For the American market, Royal Enfield has officially announced a starting MSRP of $4,999, making the Goan Classic 350 one of the most affordable factory-built bobber-inspired motorcycles you can buy new. And that's exactly what makes it so intriguing. In an era where many motorcycles compete by adding more technology, more power, or more complexity, this one slows the conversation down. Underneath its unmistakable styling sits Royal Enfield's proven 349 cubic centimeter air and oil-cooled single-cylinder engine, delivering 19.94 horsepower and 19.9 pound-feet of torque through a 5-speed transmission. Those figures won't dominate spec sheets, and Royal Enfield isn't pretending they will. The goal isn't breathtaking acceleration. It's effortless, predictable power that feels perfectly at home, rolling through small towns, winding country roads, and quiet weekend escapes. This is a motorcycle that encourages you to enjoy the ride instead of rushing to the destination. But here's what really separates the Goan from the standard classic 350. It isn't the engine, it's the atmosphere it creates. Drawing inspiration from the handcrafted bobbers that became part of Goa's motorcycle culture decades ago, Royal Enfield has transformed the familiar platform with chopped fenders, distinctive mini ape hanger handlebars, a low-slung solo-style seat, elegant, edge-laced, aluminum tubeless spoke wheels, white-wall tubeless tires, bar-end mirrors, and full LED lighting. Individually, none of those details rewrite the motorcycle. Together, they completely change the experience. The riding position feels more relaxed, the silhouette becomes unmistakable, and every stop seems to attract another conversation. What's especially impressive is that Royal Enfield never allowed style to compromise practicality. The retro-inspired instrument cluster still incorporates the Tripper navigation system. There's convenient USB Type-C charging, dual-channel ABS comes standard, and a fully fueled weight of 434.3 pounds keeps the motorcycle approachable without feeling nervous on the open road. Its closest competitors include the Honda Rebel 300, Kawasaki Eliminator, and Triumph Speed 400. Yet none of them delivers this level of factory-built vintage bobber character straight from the showroom. That's the Goan's greatest strength. It offers individuality without asking you to spend years or thousands of extra dollars building a custom motorcycle yourself. But as charming as relaxed cruising can be, Royal Enfield knows some riders eventually leave the pavement behind. And the motorcycle coming next has been updated to do exactly that, introducing meaningful improvements that could make a familiar adventure bike feel more capable than ever before. The Goan Classic 350 is built around personality as much as performance, so now we want to hear from you. Would you choose this more colorful, character-focused classic, or would you spend your money on another Royal Enfield in the lineup? Leave a comment with your choice and the reason behind it, because rider opinions reveal what the official specifications never can. Sometimes the biggest improvements aren't the ones that grab headlines. They're the changes riders have been asking for since the motorcycle first reached dealerships. And that's exactly why the Himalayan 450 Monoblack deserves a place in this countdown. It isn't an all-new motorcycle, and Royal Enfield has never claimed otherwise. Instead, it represents one of the company's most meaningful officially announced updates for the United States market. Rather than reinventing an adventure bike that was already earning praise, Royal Enfield listened to its owners and bundled many of the upgrades they were adding themselves into one factory-built package. For the coming model year, the Himalayan 450 Monoblack carries an official United States MSRP of $6,599, making it the most premium version of the Himalayan family available in America. Beneath the bodywork, the foundation remains the same proven formula. The liquid-cooled Sherpa single-cylinder engine continues to deliver 40 horsepower and 29.5 pound-feet of torque through a smooth 6-speed transmission with a slip and assist clutch. The adventure-focused chassis also remains unchanged, complete with a 21-inch front wheel, a 17-inch rear wheel, long travel suspension, an adjustable seat height, and a fully fueled weight of 432 pounds. In other words, the capability riders already trusted hasn't been altered, it's been enhanced. The real story begins with the equipment. Instead of sending buyers to the accessories catalog after they sign the paperwork, Royal Enfield installs many of its most desirable adventure upgrades before the motorcycle ever leaves the factory. The Monoblack receives rugged rally handguards, a rally seat designed to provide better support and grip during long days in the saddle, a rally front fender, and one of the upgrades owners wanted most from the beginning, tubeless cross spoke wheels. Wrapped in an exclusive black finish inspired by the legendary Monopass, the motorcycle looks purpose-built before it ever touches a trail. Those additions may not increase horsepower, but they dramatically improve ownership. Tubeless wheels make roadside puncture repairs far less stressful. Factory-installed accessories are fully covered under warranty. And buyers avoid spending additional money and time transforming a standard Himalayan into the motorcycle they wanted all along. That keeps it squarely in the fight against adventure favorites like the CF Moto Ibex 450, the KTM 390 Adventure, the Honda NX 500, and the Suzuki V-Strom 650. For riders who dream about gravel roads, mountain passes, and weekends far away from pavement, this package feels thoughtfully finished right out of the crate. But while the Monoblack is built to disappear into the wilderness, the next Royal Enfield is chasing something completely different. It isn't about covering more miles. It's about owning something very few people in the world will ever have the chance to park in their garage. And before we move any further, there is an important distinction to make because this motorcycle can easily be misunderstood. The Shotgun 650 Ruffcrafts edition is not an all-new Royal Enfield. Underneath, it is the same proven shotgun riders already know. What makes this machine special is the philosophy behind it. Rather than redesigning the motorcycle from the ground up, Royal Enfield teamed up with legendary Taiwanese custom builder Ruffcrafts and its founder Winston Ye to create something that feels like a hand-built custom straight from the factory. It is a motorcycle for riders who admire custom culture but would rather spend their weekends riding than replacing parts in the garage. Its exclusivity begins long before you even throw a leg over the seat. Royal Enfield has not announced an official United States MSRP, but it has confirmed that this edition will only be available through a special online drop system. Production is limited to just 100 individually numbered motorcycles worldwide, with only 25 allocated to the Americas. That means owning one is not simply a matter of walking into a dealership with a checkbook. First, you have to secure the opportunity itself. Miss that window, and the chance is gone for good. Mechanically, Royal Enfield wisely resisted the temptation to reinvent what already works. The familiar 648 cubic centimeter air and oil-cooled parallel twin remains exactly where it belongs, delivering 46.3 horsepower and 38.6 pound-feet of torque through a smooth 6-speed transmission. 𝐏𝐄𝐑, separate function. Big piston fork suspension continues to handle front-end duties, preserving the relaxed, confidence-inspiring character that defines the standard shotgun. This edition is not chasing higher performance. It is chasing something far more difficult to manufacture: authenticity. Look closer, and the craftsmanship begins to reveal itself. Deep gloss, jet black meets matte stealth black, separated by an elegant hand-applied gold leaf stripe with subtle gray accents. A cast brass fuel tank badge replaces the standard emblem, while gold fork tubes, contrast-cut alloy wheels, premium quilted leather, and sleek bar end mirrors elevate every angle of the motorcycle. Each fuel tank carries its own individual production number, and every owner receives a matching signed collector's poster from Winston Ye, linking the artwork directly to the motorcycle sitting in their garage. For the average rider, those details may seem unnecessary, but collectors rarely chase necessity. They chase stories, craftsmanship, and rarity. Instead of spending years building a one-of-a-kind custom, buyers receive a motorcycle whose uniqueness was carefully planned from the very beginning. Yet even this celebration of individuality is not the rarest expression of Royal Enfield's heritage. The next motorcycle trades custom craftsmanship for something even more meaningful, honoring a legacy that has shaped the company for generations. But before we move into the final motorcycle, if you enjoy detailed motorcycle guides built around verified information, the best way to help us keep creating more videos like this is by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And now we arrive at the final motorcycle in the lineup. The Classic 600 5120 5th Anniversary Edition isn't here to introduce a new engine, a new chassis, or a revolutionary feature. Its purpose is far more meaningful than that. It's a celebration of one of the oldest names in motorcycling, marking 125 years of Royal Enfield with a machine that honors the journey rather than rewriting it. Naturally, the first question is the one every buyer asks: how much will it cost? At the moment, the honest answer is that nobody outside Royal Enfield knows. Although the motorcycle was officially unveiled during the company's anniversary celebrations, the manufacturer has not confirmed a United States MSRP or even announced whether this special edition will officially reach American dealerships. Until that happens, every price you see online is little more than educated guesswork. Underneath the exclusive finish, however, everything remains reassuringly familiar. The anniversary edition carries the same 648 cubic centimeter air and oil cooled parallel twin engine producing 47 horsepower and 38 pound-feet of torque, paired with the proven 6-speed transmission shared across Royal Enfield's growing family of twin-cylinder motorcycles. And that wasn't an oversight. Royal Enfield deliberately resisted the temptation to chase more performance because this motorcycle was never meant to impress with bigger numbers. It's meant to create an emotional connection every single time you see it. Waiting in the garage, that's where the details begin, telling the real story. The striking Hypershift paint transforms under changing light, shifting between rich crimson and warm gold in a way that immediately separates it from the standard classic 650. A beautifully finished 125th anniversary emblem proudly sits on the fuel tank, while blacked-out wheels, exhausts, engine components, and front forks replace the bright chrome normally associated with the Classic. Completing the look is a premium brown diamond-stitched solo seat that gives the motorcycle an unmistakably commemorative character. None of these changes makes it faster, but every one of them makes it feel more special. Royal Enfield has also confirmed that this will be produced in limited numbers, although the company has chosen not to reveal exactly how many examples will be built worldwide. That mystery only adds to its appeal, especially for collectors who understand that rarity often becomes part of a motorcycle's legacy. If your priority is outright value, the standard Classic 650 remains the logical choice because it delivers virtually the same riding experience. But if owning a piece of Royal Enfield's history matters just as much as riding it, this anniversary edition offers something money alone can't easily measure. And with that, we've reached the end of the lineup itself. The motorcycles may all wear the same badge, but they couldn't be chasing more different goals, which means the most important comparison is still ahead. And that's where the real winner begins to emerge. After looking at every motorcycle on its own, something becomes surprisingly clear. Royal Enfield hasn't built a lineup where every model is competing for the same rider. Quite the opposite. Each motorcycle has a distinct purpose, a different personality, and a different rider in mind. So the real question isn't which Royal Enfield is objectively the best. It's which one fits the kind of riding you actually enjoy once the excitement of launch day has faded. Start with the two motorcycles most people will naturally compare: the Classic 650 and the Bullet 650. Mechanically, they're almost twins. Both share the proven 648 cubic centimeter air and oil cooled parallel twin, producing 47 horsepower and 38 pound-feet of torque through a smooth 6-speed transmission. Yet once you're standing beside them, they tell completely different stories. The Classic feels a little more refined, blending heritage with everyday versatility in a way that makes it equally happy on a weekend escape or a longer highway ride. The Bullet, meanwhile, strips everything back to tradition. It isn't trying to feel modern, it's trying to feel timeless. Move across the lineup in the Goan Classic. 350 changes the conversation entirely. Its smaller single-cylinder engine isn't there to compete with the twins. Instead, it offers an easier, more approachable experience wrapped in unmistakable bobber-inspired style. It's lighter, more affordable, and perfectly suited to riders who value character over outright performance. Then there's the Himalayan 450 Monoblack Edition, the motorcycle built for riders who see a dirt road as an invitation rather than a warning. With its liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine, long travel suspension, and adventure-focused chassis, it sacrifices a little simplicity in exchange for genuine capability far beyond the pavement. None of the other motorcycles here can follow it quite as confidently once the asphalt disappears. The Flying Flea models occupy an entirely different corner of the lineup. The C6 is clearly aimed at urban mobility, while the S6 pushes that same electric platform toward light exploration. They're not replacing Royal Enfield's traditional motorcycles. They're expanding what the brand can be for a new generation of riders. And finally, the two limited editions, the Shotgun 650 Ruffcrafts edition and the Classic 650 125th Anniversary edition, aren't really competing on value at all. Their appeal comes from exclusivity, craftsmanship, and the feeling of owning something few others ever will. What makes this lineup interesting isn't that one motorcycle outshines the rest. It's that everyone succeeds at a different mission, but knowing where each model fits is only half the equation. The bigger question is which one makes the most sense for your budget, your experience, and the way you actually ride. That's exactly where the final recommendations become far more valuable than the specifications alone. After looking at every motorcycle in this lineup, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. Royal Enfield isn't trying to build one motorcycle that does everything. Instead, it's building a family of motorcycles that each answer a different question. The best choice isn't the one with the longest feature list. It's the one that fits the way you actually ride. If you're buying your very first Royal Enfield, the Classic 650 is where the conversation should begin. It captures everything the brand is known for without asking you to sacrifice everyday usability. The smooth parallel twin engine, relaxed riding position, and genuine highway capability make it the easiest motorcycle to recommend to the widest range of riders. It doesn't excel because it's extreme. It excels because it gets almost everything right. For riders who believe a motorcycle should stir emotion before the engine even starts, the Bullet 650 is the clear winner. It shares much of the same mechanical foundation, but its personality is completely different. This is the motorcycle for someone who values heritage, timeless design, and the feeling of riding a living piece of history. If your miles are spent weaving through city streets instead of crossing state lines, the Goan Classic 350 deserves a close look. Its approachable size, relaxed power delivery, and easygoing nature make daily commuting feel less like a chore and more like something to enjoy. Adventure riders have an obvious choice. The Himalayan 450 Monoblacks arrives ready for the journey, with factory-installed equipment that many owners would have added anyway. Whether the destination is a gravel road, a mountain pass, or somewhere the pavement disappears completely, it's the motorcycle built to keep going after the others turn around. Then there are the dreamers. The Flying Flea models point toward Royal Enfield's electric future, while the Shotgun 650 Ruffcrafts edition and the Classic 650 125th Anniversary edition are aimed at enthusiasts who want something few others will ever own. And if one motorcycle delivers the strongest overall value, the answer still comes back to the Classic 650. It stays true to Royal Enfield's character while asking the fewest compromises in return. But when you step back from the individual motorcycles, a much bigger story begins to emerge. It's not just about which model you should buy. It's about what this entire lineup says about where Royal Enfield is heading next. And if this video helped you make sense of Royal Enfield's 2026 lineup, click the next video to keep exploring the motorcycle world. Join our tribe by subscribing, and don't forget to like this video.